you see. That's faith, believe, that's all you need. Can't sleep, but I dream, I see.
All right, welcome to another episode of How I See It. I am your host, everything in between, your producer, all of that, as I always say, DeLaun Dillard. Happy to have you here, and today we're talking about fatherhood, being a cool dad, and I'm joined by two cool dads here in the building this morning, Adam Weaver and Kevin Barnett. Good morning to you, fellas.
Good morning.
So, first and foremost, I was very excited to talk to you all when I learned about your organization and the work you all do. And there are not many organizations out there whose mission is the same as you all's. For people who may not be aware or know exactly what Cool Dads, the organization, is, tell me more about that, Kevin. What exactly do you all do?
Yeah. So our mission is to aid and uplift fathers that are striving to build a better world for their children and serve the communities in which they live. Quite frankly, for me, it was all about how do we build, information, access to information for fathers, right? How do we build a community around fathers? How do we allow fathers to feel seen, heard, and understood? And so our organization really stands at the forefront for that. We welcome dads to come in at any place in their fatherhood journey, right? We want to ensure that we meet them where they're at and we provide resources around them or find ways for them to kind of build community through our organization, right? Not all the time are we actually helping a dad, get through something hard. Sometimes a dad just wants to be able to give another leg up to somebody else because they had, their fortunate way of understanding how to, get to where they're at. And so we created a platform for them.
When and where did this come from?
It started in 2020. And quite honest, it was the George Floyd murder and Breonna Taylor murder and losing Kobe Bryant that kind of put me in this mindset of like, man, what can I do within my community? What can I do within my reach? And God gave me this idea about Cool Dad, to be honest. It was a time where we all were home, locked down due to COVID. We needed some way to kind of connect and engage, and this started through Zoom, just kind of reaching out to some friends and saying, hey, how do you feel right now? Actually, let's get on a Zoom call. Brought in a bunch of different guys that some knew each other, some didn't. And the organic, connectivity started through that. And that kind of fueled me as we started to be able to open up and get back outside due to COVID, continuing to work. And that's really where the origin story started.
Adam, I know you are a board member for the organization. What sold you when you learned about this organization to be a part and be on the board for it?
Yeah, so I saw Cool Dad. I figured I wanted to get involved. Had a chat with Kevin. He told me that same origin story, and I was doing the same thing. I had my first kid during the COVID pandemic, and I was lucky enough that my best friend was also going through that same process at the same time. So he and I could bounce ideas off each other and figure out what works, what didn't work. And not everyone has that. A lot of people are doing this on their own, and they need that sort of community. And while the organization is focused on black and brown dads, I had this conversation with Kevin. Obviously, I'm not a black or brown dad. And what he told me that really stuck with me is the X, right? So it's Cool X Dad is the brand. And he explained to me the X is the variable, right? You can be black, you can be white. And you don't even have to be a biological dad, right? You have single moms that are playing the father role. You have grandmas and aunts that are playing the father role. So it's anyone in that space. It gives them a community of support.
And how long have you been part of the organization?
So I started hanging out with Kevin and volunteering probably about 1.5 years ago, and then I joined the board earlier this year. Yeah.
When you started this in 2020, well, let me not go there first. Tell me more about the programming you all do first and foremost. Yeah. I know you guys do a lot.
Yeah. A lot of our programming, we do a lot of community outreach first and foremost because we want to make sure we can kind of combat the negative stereotypes that fathers are not engaged or not around. So we do things like our Million Father March during the month of August for back to school, with our focus school being Blackshear Elementary. We get dads out. We celebrate like a block party. We'll provide services like healthcare, free screening, give backs, books and supplies. During the month of November, we have our Color Box program. That's a big holiday gift drive. So we do free family portraits. We have a 5K run this year that we've integrated into that. So a lot of the upfront of what you'll see from Cool Dad is us in the community, right? On a more program side, we have programs like our Dollars and Cents program, which is a financial literacy program. We have so many dads that are entrepreneur spirits, own businesses, and we saw this program as a way to kind of help meet them where they're at, help them financially plan for their family and their future generation. And then we do a lot of the wellness. We do from meditation to sound bath to yoga. We understand, to be a positive figure for your family, you need to feel good, and so that mental health support is really, really big in our programming.
You also are opening a brand new facility in the 5th Ward. I imagine you're excited about that.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a dream come true. A place to where we can call home for our community. Somewhere that a father who may be looking for something like Cool Dad can actually find it, right? And so we're really excited about that. 1,600 square foot space in the new East River development over by the Bayou in 5th Ward will allow us to really dial in on our programming and really build out the community reach that Cool Dad has built here in the city.
When you started this in 2020, what did you expect? And I imagine you didn't. Did you expect it to be what it is today?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I did. I didn't know how to get there, but I did expect it to be where it's at now because it was such a need. It was a need that most men don't get a chance to even say out loud. And so I feel like I represent so many voices out there that are continuously trying to just figure it out. And I'm excited to see, what the future or the next 5 to 10 years look like.
How does it feel for you, Adam, to be a part of an organization? Because I don't really know if I've seen another organization that it's catered to dads. Surrounding yourself with other people who are on the same journey as you.
Yeah, it's great. It's been really fun and exciting, and I'm really excited to take it from sort of the startup area to kind of this execution. And our events were with community partners at the Ion and at the Dynamo Stadium, and now we're going to get to have our own space. I do real estate law during the day, not cool dadding all the time. So I got to work with Kevin on the lease, which was really, really exciting to kind of watch this project come to life. We've been working with the GCs. Midway's been a great partner at East River. And yet to watch it sort of grow and expand and become this, real serious thing and a place for the community to get together. It's exciting.
I know we were talking. It's for everybody, but I know also especially for dads, people who look like us, and in many cases, and not all the time. Sometimes in our for Black people, you may not always see a dad involved. Yeah. In some cases. Yeah. How important is it to you that you created this space for other Black men to be parents together, learn about being parents together?
I mean, that's a great question because, I'm a product of what Cool Dad stands for, right? I grew up without a father in the household, who was pretty much in and out of my life. And so understanding that feeling is what I wanted to ensure to meet fathers where they're at, because if my dad had a Cool Dad as he was coming up, I feel like we would have probably had him more around. He would have had a better way of kind of expressing himself. So I've learned through that experience for my own self that it's not just forget about dad, like he doesn't want to be around, so forget about him. How do we get him to actually work through his, his issues that he may be facing, so that he can be the best father or the best version of himself for his children, for his family. And then we get the opportunity there because in our community, we have dads that actually care, right? So Adam, if I'm going through something, he's in my ear. He's my support system, or vice versa. And I can turn to anybody in our community for that support to ensure to steer me on that right direction. So I think us having our new space and being, centered and rooted into the community, we'll I hope that we start seeing more men actually coming in looking for that help, right? Because we want to welcome it. And so that environment that we're building and have built has been more of a, come as you are, there's no judgment here.
Why do you, and I know you don't have the exact answer, but from your perspective as a dad, why do you feel like sometimes there men don't come and ask for help. I mean, and also why there aren't always spaces for us to ask for help as it is.
I mean, my 2 cents on that is that we've been conditioned to believe that we have to just figure it out on our own. You know the phrase, you got to man up. Mm-hmm. And so I think that has a lot to do with why men are constantly just keeping these things to themselves. And so we're just trying to unlearn that, take that as a behavior that was once, put on to you and really unlearn it and start to really be connected to your own emotional, social well-being, and let us help guide you along that path,
Yeah. Did you want anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I think to that point, people that say, okay, I don't want to be like my dad, right? He did this wrong, he did that wrong. I want to be a better father to my kids. They may not know how to do that, right? Like our biggest role model or examples for fatherhood are our dads. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have that role model and you say, oh, I want to be more emotionally available to my kids, I don't know how to do that. I want to be around and help financially, but I don't really know how to do that. Like we give you those resources, mental well-being, financial literacy, plus the community. So it's not, oh, here's a bunch of literature, go, teach yourself and do it on your own. It's, hey, we're all here to do it with you. So we're going through the same things.
In terms of what we need right now, this is not a political question, but Kamala Harris released a plan just recently for Black men specifically that she wants to implement. Not taking any political sides in any of this. From your perspective, what do you think Black men and even Black fathers need right now to help them succeed?
I think they need to be seen, to be honest. I feel like as a Black man, I feel like I'm always constantly fighting to be seen, right? I'm getting up, I'm trying, I'm doing my best foot forward, and I think, if we can be recognized and seen for the work, for the appreciation, that can move mountains.
Yeah. In your organization, what type of, I imagine y'all have had success stories or occurrences where it's like y'all have helped each other together. Any of those you want to share where it's like, okay, this is why I did this. This is why I created this.
Man, I mean, there's so many, to be honest. I think, just staying where we're at in the month, Color Box, we do this free family portraits. And the idea came to me, one year, just drinking some oranges, looking at my refrigerator and seeing a bunch of faces that weren't my family faces on it, and realizing like, yeah, we need to start documenting and archiving our family's history and allowing our children to see themselves year over year grow. And so we brought this into our initiative, and I remember there was this one family in particular back in 21, our first one. It was a single mom and her son, and she broke down on the set and started crying, and her son had to be probably about 11 years old, and she was like, this is the first time that I'm actually taking a professional picture with my son. And it hit all of us there, because as you look, this child's 11 years old, right? Obviously you have a cell phone, but for this mom, this was a moment that she realized, like, I'm going to be able to document this with my child, and this will allow him to remember something that we've never done and we've done together. And she's now been coming for the last 3 years since that day, because it's also, people can't afford to take a professional picture. The days of Sears and getting lined up to get those pictures are long gone. So we provide that as a free opportunity to the community. So I think that's one of those reasons of, like, for me was like, this is why we do it. We're really helping.
Is this fulfilling for y'all to see?
For me, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Man.
Moving forward, what do you want people watching to know about your organization and why they should get involved in it? Dads.
Well, it's kind of twofold on that. I think the first thing I want to say, and Adam kind of mentioned it about the X, the organization where the name is Cool Dad and where the importance is to create community for fathers, we are really educating around a philosophy, a way of life. Right? And so that X is really symbolic. And so I don't want people to feel that they can't get involved because they're not a dad, or because they're a woman, or because of this, right? We want everybody who wants to embody this mindset to get involved. And then secondly, I want fathers to really feel that they have a place for them that they can champion and be proud of. And so when they wear a fatherhood t-shirt, they can say they're a part of this community proudly, and encourage other fathers to want to get in part of it. You know, I want that to be somewhere, you know, I envision you're in the grocery store pushing your cart around and someone sees that fatherhood shirt and they stop me and go, hey man, is that cool, Dad? You know, how did you get involved, you know? And so that's the goal that I'm trying to make sure that comes to fruition.
Yeah. Adam, I know you mentioned you joined in 2020 when was this your first child you were having in 2020?
First child. Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like being a part of the organization has helped you? Because you never know how to be a parent if you've never been a parent before. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel like this helped you being a parent for the very first time, being a part of this organization?
So it helps a lot. I mean, you have those shared experiences, and then you also grow together, right? Because at the time, we each had one kid. Now I have 3, he's got 2. We're running around chasing them. We now have that shared experience. Well, how do you deal with the toddler stage, right? Like, how are you balancing work? How are you balancing your marriage? You know, all of that stuff. So it plants the seeds in fatherhood, and then very quickly you realize you have other shared experience, and it's really the community that supports each other. So yeah, we've been fast friends, and it's going to continue that way for a long time.
You feel the same way? Has it been kind of like a ministry to yourself?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I've said this on record tons of times. The first person that Cool Dad has affected was myself. And so that's what keeps me going, right? Because it is therapeutic for me, right? Because I am a flawed man, and I know that, and I continue to try to be the best that I can be for my family. And my brothers around me, the other Cool Dads, help me, you know, become better. So while I'm out here serving them and pouring into them, a lot of them don't understand that they're pouring into me, and so that is something that I cherish, you know. As I've seen growth in myself, I've heard the growth from others who have known me all their lives and can see like a drastic change in me.
What do you feel like? Because I could never answer this question because I don't have kids yet. What do you feel like something you did not know about fatherhood until you became a father?
Patience.
And I'll ask both of y'all this.
Yeah, patience. I thought I had patience until I became a father.
Because I don't.
I thought I had patience. I thought I was always cool-tempered and, you know, could navigate any situation. But realizing, you know, becoming a parent, becoming a father, becoming a husband, you know, that's something that I constantly have to work on because it's needed, right? You know, your kids are going to react off of what they see. And so if I'm walking around yelling, screaming, and shouting, naturally, they'll probably be doing the same. And so the way I treat my wife and the way we interact as a couple may be exactly the way they will grow up to treat their significant other. And so patience, becoming a dad, has been something that I was like, all right, that's an eye-opener.
Yeah, that's got to be top of the list for me too. And it really, I tell young couples that are thinking about starting a family, you know, I tell them you focus on the partnership of your relationship, right? Because you and your partner, you got to communicate. You're going to be high stress all the time. Well, you grab this, I'll grab that. It really goes back to that adage of like, it takes a village, right? And I feel a lot of times fathers don't really have that village, right? So if things are super stressful with your kids, with your wife, and everything's going on, having that additional support system with Cool Dad is really helpful. But yeah, the partnership with kid schedules and school and drop off and lunches, it's just you and your partner got to be lined up and communicate and ready to go. And if you're not, and like we had an issue where I needed something right away and we were kind of in a bind at like 7:30 in the morning, called Kevin, he's right across the corner, dropped what he needed to do, threw the kid in the car and helped take care of it. So it really creates that village for people who need it.
Yeah, I imagine it. Oh, go ahead.
No.
I imagine it helps in a layered number of ways too, because fatherhood, some people may not be married in their father. Some people may, unfortunately, may be going through a divorce in their fatherhood. Some people may be newly married in fatherhood. So I imagine y'all have resources and people who have experienced whatever layer of fatherhood it is, because someone who's been divorced, going through fatherhood is even harder, I imagine, because you're parenting from 2 households at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Literally we have a catalog of whatever you're gonna need. Simple as that. So there's not a father out there right now that could literally say, hey, I'm going through this and I can't find the support within Cool Dad. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that we pride ourselves on, because we want to ensure that we have all answers as possible. And if we don't have the answer, it's something that we can now start to dig into to figure out how do we make sure that our community is ready for this the next time it comes around.
And I learned about y'all because y'all had a panel talking about cool dads in tech.
Yep.
So y'all even have that where different, depending on the career you work in, y'all have different panels and events surrounding that as well too.
Yeah. The way I look at it is father's at the helm of everything. Mm-hmm. So why, just make ourselves feel so enclosed when we can really create so many different avenues. Our Cool Dad in Tech event is in partnership with Microsoft. We host that at the Ion this past year here, and it's a great conversation, right? Because we brought in fathers from the Microsoft side, and they get to kind of share how do they navigate their fatherhood journey with these high, demanding jobs, and also help our audience who are paying attention of how do they break in when you're trying to navigate, right now between the toddler phase and, higher education and trying to get yourself in the right direction. These panels are kind of brought on to help kind of just position, a thought in your mind to say, hey, I can do it too.
Yeah. For people who want to get in contact with you all, learn more about your organization, how can they do all of that?
Easy to find us, right? We have Instagram, so that's CoolXDad, CoolXDad, or just directly on our website, which would be coolxdad.com. We're very approachable. We welcome everybody to reach out, ask a question, and just get connected with us. We've also now just launched our virtual community. So if you're not in Houston, you can
still be involved.
Yeah, you still can get involved, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So our virtual community link is directly on our website. You can just hit the join now, and that can get you directly into our private community where you'll automatically be welcomed by a group of fathers ready and waiting to see if they can help you in any direction.
And your building that you'll be opening, that's in December?
December, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate both of you fellas for talking to me for a second. Kevin and Adam, thank y'all both. And the work you're doing is honestly inspiring for sure, because like I said, I don't know of an organization that is specifically tailored and aimed just at dads.
Yeah.
Specifically. I mean, there's so many organizations, but you don't really hear much that is tailored to us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or I guess I can't say us yet, but dads.
Yeah. Well, you can say yes because you're an ex.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. Well, I appreciate y'all joining me.
Us.
And appreciate y'all joining me here as well. We'll see you for the next episode.
All right.
You see, that's faith. Believe, that's all you need. Can't sleep, but I dream.